Hi, I'm Barbara Chris.
And I'm Clarissa,
We're two friends, entrepreneurs, and experts in our field.
joining forces and talking all about life, business, tools for success, and more.
So, without further ado, here's to Dope Women.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to our Here's to Dope Women podcast. My name is Clarissa, and I am a hairstylist and salon owner here in Southern California. This is my beautiful co-host, Barbara.
Hey!
She is a certified nutrition and weight loss coach, and we are here to talk to you guys all about goals.
Yes.
Very hot topic right now. It's the beginning of the year, so it's New Year's resolution time, right? Everybody is setting new goals. So that's what we are here to talk to you guys about, some tips, some tricks, how to set goals, how to stick with them. I know I personally do not set New Year's resolutions. I like to set new goals, definitely, but I'm just not really a big fan in setting those New Year's resolutions. I feel like if I just set it as like, oh, this is my New Year's resolution for the entire year, I don't know. I like to just kind of recalibrate my life. How do you feel about New Year's resolutions?
That great question. So, obviously you would imagine as a nutrition and weight loss coach, this time of year, this is when I get a lot of people who are interested in working with me for sure, which is great. I love it. But one of the common questions I get is, well, what about resolutions? How do you coach people and their resolutions? And I'll tell you, I personally don't use resolutions, and I don't coach my clients to have resolutions because one, I think there's statistics that show that on average, I know it's upwards of 80% by, I don't know, 2 weeks into the new year, most people, they've totally fallen off of their resolution. But what I do coach my clients with, and I do myself, is how to establish and create smart, measurable, trackable, and achievable goals. And that's like you said, this is like what we want to bring to our audience today, not only in talking about goals, why they're important, what about them, or what you can do to make them or help you be as successful as possible with your own goals, but then literally tools that you can implement today. Really just try some of these tools on, see if some of these work for you. Some will, some won't, maybe they all will. But really to help you be successful too. So I'm excited for this episode. This
Me
is
too.
really good.
And I want you guys to stay tuned to the end. I feel like it's like a motivation, like it's going to kick you right in the ass.
Oh!
And it's going to totally just make you kind of get in like a little reality check. And I think it's going to really help with a lot of people with motivation. So, and Barbara is going to do the exercise at the end, and it's going to be totally organic. I haven't even told her what it is. So I think it's definitely something that's going to be very helpful for a lot of people.
I know. Should I be nervous at all?
No.
Right, because I have no idea what she's going to do, and so we're going to do it all together.
Yeah.
Yes,
Fun.
awesome. So you mentioned that at the beginning of the year that you don't do the whole resolution thing either. Why don't you tell or share with us, what do you find helpful or works really good for you as far as how to kick off the new year?
Well, I feel like it's not really so much like, okay, new year, new me, right? I just kind of feel like if it's a new year, it's like kind of a fresh start, right? So what I usually like to do in the very beginning of the year, and it's like some people, do it during springtime, right? Spring cleaning. So I like to kind of just go through everything and get rid of anything as far as clothes. I've gone through, my bathroom and gotten rid of like a bunch of old, beauty products or, I don't know, medications or whatever that's expired. My pantry, I like to go through my pantry and throw away anything that's expired, or I go through my fridge like on a weekly basis to kind of get rid of stuff. But yeah, just kind of, I even did that in the salon, right? Where I kind of like almost reorganize things and make it just more efficient, like things that are like right in the front that I don't use very much.
Right.
And then I kind of like, I took away just a bunch of glasses and stuff that I wasn't using and just kind of decluttered. I love to declutter. I love to purge and just get rid of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So that way it just kind of seems like it's just like a fresh start to kind of start the new year.
So then is it like, do you do that? Is it set that you do that every year or like at the beginning of the year, or do you kind of do that, like you said, periodically? Is it sort of like a habit that you've created where I do that every month or every quarter? is that how you do that? Because I actually really like that idea.
I
That decluttering
probably
is
I
amazing.
yeah, I probably go through stuff maybe once every 6 months.
Hmm.
So like and especially my clothes, like I have a lot of clothes. Even that, and even though I do go through my clothes, I just feel like I like accumulate so much stuff. So it's like if I go through my clothes and if I haven't worn it and say it's the season, if it's
Hmm.
springtime or it's summertime and I'm going through like my entire drawer of tank tops, if I haven't worn this during the summer,
Right.
since the last time that I, cleaned it
Like,
out, I just get rid of it. Yeah. So I would say probably like once every 6 months I go through that. I
yeah.
mean, I just moved here 7 months ago. So yeah, like I went through it, this month, January.
Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah, every
think
six
that
months
as an entrepreneur as well, that it's even more important that you do that to kind of keep things decluttered so that you can, you know,
for
because
sure.
obviously as an entrepreneur, you have your life, but then you have you're running your business too.
Yeah.
Does it does it
Oh,
help
for
with
sure.
that?
It's really hard for me to function when there's too much stuff going on.
Mhm.
There's just too much stuff. And I just feel like you just work a lot more efficiently when your space is clean, you
Mhm.
know? So that's what I like to do.
Yeah, I love that. In fact,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't, why does whatever decluttering or spring clean, it doesn't have to happen, in March, April. You could do it at the beginning of the year. That kind of clears things up for you. And
Yeah.
I would imagine, let's say like if you were struggling finding a goal for the year, if you declutter your spaces, something might come to you. Like, I really want to, maybe you're going through your books or something. I want to
Yeah.
learn a new language or something like that. I don't know. It might
Or
just
maybe you
clear.
find an old project that you were working on that you never really got around to finishing, right? So yeah, you could totally, find old projects, or it could spark up something that you were interested in that you never really followed through with. So yeah, I feel like that works too.
I love that. That's actually really cool. I
Yeah.
like that idea. And I will vouch for her because I've been in her salon and I know her. She's very organized, thoroughly organized. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is working.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Just getting the space to kind of work for me, and I like to work smarter, not harder. I don't like to work around things. So the less decluttered, the better for me, for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And back on that whole topic about, or maybe talking about New Year's resolutions and the fact that most people, with a short amount of time or after a short amount of time, they've totally just fallen off. One thing that I can share with you and that you can try, our listeners can try this, is pick a word for the year if they don't want to necessarily do, let's say, a resolution. I have my clients pick a word for the year. In fact, I have a word for the year. It's vulnerability, and I can actually give you the definition of that, is why I picked it. But I give a word, or I have my clients pick a word for the year, and the I guess the idea behind it is that you want to have this word around you at all times. Like I'll send a picture with the word to my clients so they could put it on their phone as a wallpaper, or I'll tell them to, put it on a post-it and put it on your mirror in the bathroom so that every morning you see this word. The idea is that if when you constantly see this word, it's a reminder of what your north is, for example. So if again, I'll use my word as vulnerability. And if I want to really kind of focus on the things that push me out of my comfort zones, that are making me, and I guess encouraging me to be more vulnerable this year, I want to see that word everywhere, as many places as possible, so that my brain starts to process this. I start to think about myself differently. I think about my actions differently, and it becomes more, I guess, a natural thing versus sometimes with a resolution, or maybe even like a goal that's not well written. We can forget about it when life gets hectic and things are happening. I'm not going to remember the details of a goal per se, but I will remember my word, and that can
Yeah.
help guide me throughout certain things. So I'm going to share with
That's
you
great.
the definition, because I know that
Yeah.
the definition of vulnerability, and I love this because it comes from Brene Brown. I know we both love her.
Love
She,
Brene Brown.
right?
Yeah.
She's awesome. So
Mhm.
she talks about, this is where she talks, or how she describes vulnerability. It's this: Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. Isn't that awesome?
That's great. And I feel like
I,
it really ties into goals. I feel like you have
yeah,
to have a form of vulnerability in order to start kind of going after goals, especially
100%.
especially when it comes to weight loss, right?
Mhm.
You have to kind of
Oh,
admit, okay, yeah, like I have some eating issues. Okay, yeah, I have a few pounds that I want to shed. So
yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and there's research. The research out of, I believe it's the University of Oregon. They were looking at goals and there's the whole behavior of it. And basically talking about, as they define what a goal really is, it's truly a detour from the path of least resistance, if that makes sense. So basically, the word goal, inherent or part of it, is that you're going to hit resistance, you're going to hit friction. That is the idea of having a goal, that we are pushing ourselves a little harder, right? We're going to be outside of our comfort zone. So there's going to be resistance. And just like you said, in order to do that, we have to be courageous and brave to lean into an area that we might not be the best at, or we're going to be a beginner at. I think that is really where a lot of us struggle. I know I struggle with that, is having to be a beginner again. And it's scary and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. But like I said, so this year, my word is vulnerability, and I'm going to lean into those things that scare me the most.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. It's kind of like picking a core value,
Yeah.
right? You pick a word and that is your core value for the year,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
I love that.
So if you were to pick a word, I don't know, don't
Gosh,
want to put you on the spot,
right?
what would you pick?
Oh my gosh, what would I pick? Hmm, what would I pick? I would probably say discipline.
Oh,
I would probably say discipline. I give into
discipline.
things pretty easily.
Ah.
So I would probably say discipline. I would
Mhm.
like to have more discipline in 2023.
Hmm. Very
So
interesting.
yeah, I
Now,
feel like that would be a
that is a
one for
great
me.
word. In fact, I think I have a number of clients who've picked that word too.
Really?
So
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Now, what about goals? Should we share some of our own goals and kind of what we're doing, and you know how we're
Yeah.
doing on our goals?
Yeah. I mean, so what's funny is I feel like sometimes it's really hard for me to pick goals.
Mm,
You know what I mean? It's like there's certain things that I'm like, that'd be kind of nice to do, or I'd really like to get into this, or I'd really like to get into that. But then I don't really kind of go into the depths of it.
mm,
Like for me, like I was just kind of like, because I love cooking. So I started basically just cooking from home. So
mm-hmm,
it's just, I guess it's like I kind of made that a goal in my head and then I just kind of started doing it, but I didn't really get into it until kind of recently that I'm like, wow, like since I
mm-hmm,
kind of made it in my head of like, oh, I would really like to kind of cook more often or I would like to eat, not eat out so much. Then I really actually started kind of getting into it of like, okay, well, that means I have to go to the grocery store once a week. And then I have to do
right.
this and I have to do that. I have to get off work at a certain time because
Mm-hmm.
or if I do get off work late, then I have to, think of a meal that's going to be a little bit easier or a little bit faster. So that was definitely one of my goals because also too, what I noticed when I moved here, I have like a way bigger kitchen than I did
Yeah.
before. I cook so much more often and I really kind of realized how much of like a passion that I have for it. So definitely I wanted to cook more often and get better at it. I mean, I would say I'm pretty good at it. I'm not gonna lie.
I've
Um,
seen your pictures. They look,
yeah,
yeah, your food looks good.
yeah. So yeah, that was, not eating out so much and cooking more often and just getting more into kind
Mm.
of the fact that I realized that I'm passionate about it. That was one of my goals for sure for
I love
2023.
that. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
What about
That-
you?
Oh, wow. So this is a big one. So this is a big year for me. I know you're aware. So literally, I think now I'm 5 weeks away from my 50th birthday, which is like, I mean, it's just crazy that I say 50 because I remember, years ago, 'Cause my sister, my sister, she's 4 years ahead. And I remember when she turned 50, I was like, wow, God, that's like crazy. She's turning 50. Then it dawned on me, oh my God, holy shit, I'm next. And I'm
Yeah.
like right there, 5 weeks away. And so it was really kind of interesting. So at the end of the year, as you're starting to wrap up the year, whether it's business or personally and just the holidays and everything, and even for me, like my goals from last year, you start to wrap up things and kind of see how you did. I was finding that just in the few weeks of really not having something to work towards, I get kind of a, I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like I'm in a rut, that I
Hmm.
really do my best when I have something to work towards. And it doesn't have to be anything so tremendous, but just something that I'm working towards that I can focus on because I have so much energy, right? I mean,
You do.
like I have a lot of, energy and creativity. And if I can't channel it somewhere, I get frustrated. And
Yeah.
so one of these things in turning 50, I was like, I really, because this ties also with my whole personal drive with helping others be healthier too, is that I thought, but when I turned 50, so it's kind of a short term goal right now, there are some things that I want to make sure that I'm doing that I know help me feel great and thrive. So things like lifting a bit more frequently than I was, just changing up my workout routine, really watching and honing in on my food. And I know it's a bit of a kind of a short term goal, but it was really something that felt personal and meaningful to me, to hit by my 50th birthday. Just that I was like, I really just want to feel amazing, when I turn 50. And I also remember too, when I first got into fitness, when I was competing and realized that, wow, women or anybody could do this at any age as long as they just dedicate and commit. I remember back then thinking how amazing it would be to share with people that, if you just sort of put your mind to something and really just be consistent, not even worry about being perfect, but just be consistent at it, you can really accomplish a lot. And I thought, kind of feels like full circle when I first got started and then now that I'm turning 50 to kind of put it together.
Hmm.
I know it's kind of a long story, but that's kind of where I'm at right now with my personal goal. And then I have a
Yeah.
professional goal, and that
Hmm.
is really a part of it is what we're doing right here, and
Yeah.
really branching out. And I think for the both of us, right, pushing our potential and stepping into things that maybe aren't the most comfortable, but doing things like a podcast and sharing our wisdom and expertise and helping other women. It's a huge, huge goal, I know, for both of us, to
Yeah.
create that type of community. So anyway, those are my goals,
For
at least for this
sure.
year.
I love how like passionate you are about it.
Oh, thank
You
you.
can tell, but I feel like you need to have that kind of like internal drive in order to
Mhm.
even start these goals. Because I see so many people that are like, oh, like, what's one of your goals? Like, I, talk to my clients all the time. They're with me for hours. So sometimes
Mhm.
we'll talk about like, oh, it's like, are you going on any vacations or do you have any goals? And they're like, yeah,
Yep.
I'd really like to go to Italy this year. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, do you know when or, whatever? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
Sounds
you
good.
don't, you don't
Yeah.
seem very passionate about it,
Yep. And
you
you
know?
bring up, go ahead. I didn't mean to, go ahead.
No, that's just what I was just gonna say. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like you need to have a little bit more behind that in order to get that done.
Yeah,
But all right.
great. I mean, that is a great point because that goes just transition well into the two things that, we can share with everyone, that they really want to make sure that they have in their goals. And like you said, there's has to be some kind of personal involvement and personal investment. So when I coach my clients as well as for myself, there's research again out of the University of Oregon. It's a great research that they've done in goal making and just behaviors of people and looking at the habits of people who are most successful at goals. And they found that there's two things that you have to have it really as part of a goal to give you the best chance at being successful. And you said the first one, it's that why. You have to have, or we have to have, a really meaningful, strong why, as far as why it's important, why we want to make this change, even why now. If you can ask your question or ask yourself those questions and answer them, and they really feel like you can relate with them and you feel it in your gut that it's important, you're likely on the wrong or the right track. It's
Yeah.
when, like, a lot of times you might have friends or maybe it's family members or a group of people who are doing something and you just feel like, well, I guess I'll do that. You kind of just kind of have a fear of missing out and you sort of jump
Hmm.
on the bandwagon. It might be, kind of novel and cool for a while, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to follow through all the way because you're not really invested. Does that make sense?
For sure, because that's not really your passion, it's your friend's passion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just kind of trying to follow along with it, right? That's
Yeah.
like dry January. It's like, "Oh, I guess I'm just going to do it because everybody else is doing it." And it's like if you don't have like a true drive into why you want to
Mhm.
do this, like, "Oh, I just feel like it's the right time in my life to do it," or,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's super important. So that's a step, that's the first step, the why, and then you said there's a second step.
The second step is the how. Basically, it's how are you going to do it? What is your plan? Because many times when people make goals, they're missing one or the other, sometimes both. It's just so vague. Their goal is so general. So they talk about the importance of having both, really having a strong why and then a strong how. So it could be that you have a plan or how you're going to track yourself. If there's any skills that you need to learn in order to do it. So, for example, maybe it's cooking. Maybe someone who doesn't know how to cook at all, maybe they need to go get some certain, pots and pans and utensils. Maybe they need to have somebody come and just sort of teach them some basics. They need some of the skills to actually, follow through with their goal. Because if you don't have that skill set, we have to be, like you said, maybe vulnerable or open to being a beginner to ask for help, and then just kind of get
Definitely.
us on our way. So we have to have a really strong how, because basically you want to be able to say, how, like, answer this question, when will I know I've succeeded?
Hmm.
Well, I'll know if I've cooked 10 meals, or, like, for my example, I'll know if I've done, my 3 to 5 workouts this week or something like that. Something that's really tangible that I could check off, a very discrete plan or a measurable plan that I could say, this is how I'm doing it. So you really have to have a plan of action. Maybe it's someone who holds you accountable too, all that stuff. But really think about that, the why and the how. You got to
Yeah.
have both.
I feel like a lot of, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with, eating in more often, or my client that was talking
Mm,
about, "Oh, I just want to go to Italy." And it's like, okay, well, first off, I needed to think about, okay, if I want to eat more, eat in more often, I need to make a list of, meals and
mhm,
ingredients, and I need to be able to go, at least once a week, like either Sunday, Monday, try and
mhm.
make that happen. Or, my client that wants to go to Italy, like, okay, well, where in Italy? Like, how much is it going to be? Where am I going to stay? What time of year is the best time to go? And it's like, it's kind of like when it goes back to like manifesting what you want. A lot of people
Yeah,
just like put it on their vision board, but then they just like sit back and are like, okay, well, it's going to come to me. Well, yeah, okay, you can sit there and you can think about it all day, but if you don't actually take any steps towards, or any plan, you don't make any kind of plan to go do whatever it is that you want to do, then
mhm,
it's not going to happen. Like, you need to have the action, like manifest what dream you want to have
mhm,
or goal,
mhm.
but then also take those action steps to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. Totally. That's awesome. That's exactly it. It's
Yeah.
amazing to dream, right? And to manifest and to visualize. I think that's extremely powerful. But yeah, there has a point where, like, you just have to take those steps, even if it's tiny, it's the tiniest thing. But,
Yeah,
even like you said, go online. How much is a ticket? You know what? Step one, check. That's a step.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah, because there's a lot more that goes into it, you
Hmm.
know, that goes into your goals. And I also think that a lot of people set goals, but then they don't really realize what it takes to get there.
Mm.
Like you could sit there and you could be like, "Oh yeah, I want to go to the gym 7 days a week because I want to compete in a fitness competition."
Hmm.
But then they don't want to cut out alcohol. They don't want to
Hmm.
cut out bread. They don't, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like a lot of people will set these goals that are just unrealistic and don't fit them because they're not willing to do what it takes. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that 75 hard, right? So my boyfriend's on this
Oh,
on this
no.
challenge.
Throw him
It's
under the bus.
right. No, he's doing he's
Oh,
doing
is he?
amazing on it. Oh my gosh. No,
Oh,
he's like so surprised. Like I'm like, damn, he's doing like it's very inspiring.
go legacy.
So yeah, so it's like, so those of you who don't know what 75 hard
Hmm.
is for 75 days, you have to do two 45-minute workouts. You
Hmm.
have to read 10 pages of a book. You can't drink any alcohol. You have to
Hmm.
stick to a diet plan, you know, whatever it is.
Okay.
You have to take a progress picture. You have to read 10, I think I said read 10 pages of a book. So you
Hmm.
have to do all these things in a day. And I'm just kind of like, wow, like that's so inspiring. And most people would be like, oh my gosh, okay, let me try and do it too. But then it's like, for me, I'm like, well, you know, I like at the end of the day, like pouring myself a glass of wine or making myself a little
Like,
drink. Yeah, like at the end of the day, that's kind of like my little thing, like, oh yeah, you know, and I
yeah.
don't do it every night, but it's like, do I really want to cut that out? Because if I cut that,
No.
like if I have that drink, I'm not doing the challenge.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm looking at the whole 75 part and it's like, oh, I could totally be doing it with him, right?
Hmm.
But it's like I don't want to do that. So like I don't want to do what it takes to do the 75 hard, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think people need to realize that that's okay if you don't. I mean, obviously, if you have a drinking problem, then that's, you know, a whole other
Yeah.
thing. Or if you have a, you know, problem eating too many carbs a day or something.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of people just set very unrealistic goals,
Hmm.
and they need to really realize, okay, what do I have to do to get to where I want? And am I going to be able to do those things?
Yes. You just
I
have
mean,
to
it's
have
okay.
those.
Yeah, it's okay to have a little doubt and just be like, oh, this is going to be so hard. But you know what? Okay, like let's do it.
Right.
It's okay because that goals are supposed to be hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a difference between accepting that it's going to be difficult and just and maybe ignoring some reality thing, like some reality about you. Like you really have to have a, like, I don't know, a come to Jesus moment, just getting real. You have to just really get like real with yourself. So for example, like you, like the example you just shared about, your boyfriend is like, it's really important to him what he's doing, and that's great. He's doing great with that goal, and that's fantastic. And it's just there's parts of it that just don't really relate to you, or not, or it's just not as meaningful, so you just don't do that. And that's
Yeah.
just being real with what's important to you, because if you're not fully invested, there's not a strong enough pull or a why, you're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it for, or you're not going to do it for long. It's not going to, because it doesn't mean anything to you. And it's not enough to just kind of join in because, well, I want to be supportive, but you can be supportive in a totally different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean, I'm supportive by cooking us healthy meals, making sure that
yeah.
he has healthy stuff to eat,
Hmm.
you know,
That,
making sure that hey, did you get your second workout in today?
yeah.
You know, and there was a point in time when he started doing it, and I was like, I knew that a couple of his friends were doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, is he doing it because they're doing it? Because he has like FOMO, right?
Mm.
And I said, are you doing it because like your friends are doing it? And he just like looked at me and he said, I'm doing it because I want to do what I say I'm going to do. And I was
Yeah.
like, go for
There
it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Which leads me to something. I have to bring this up because a client, and I'm going to give her a shout out, Cassie. She had a really good point. She was talking about, her goals, and we were talking about motivation, or probably more discipline after the fact, because you can have great goals, but what about when you're in like the thick of it and you don't want to, let's say it is a workout goal or a health goal, and you're just struggling, like, I just do not want to work out today, or I don't want to get up and make my meals. I don't want to go grocery shopping. I'm really, really struggling. I'm sure everybody can relate to this. What do you do? And we talk through that today. And I want to share with you it's kind of like a tip, or maybe even a trick, that's like a mental trick to kind of help you keep going. Um, there's a trick called it's an illusionary goal progress. It's basically the ability to check a box. It's kind of like if you have a big goal. Let's say someone, they want to, for the whole month, they want to, eat, they don't want to eat out. They want to eat at home. and it just seems kind of daunting at the moment. So what I do is I tell them break down the bigger goal into little steps, something that you can do every day and check a box. So for example, um, I have to make a grocery list. I got to go through the
Mhm.
house and make a grocery list of what I need. Just the act of doing the grocery list and saying that you can check that off, it's this illusion that you're making progress towards a bigger goal. And that really does help. It kind of helps us stay motivated and in the fight. There's a story or a study that was done. I'll quickly share with you about coffee cards. Have you heard this one?
I
About
don't know.
like
I don't
if
think so.
so it's about they did this study, and they took two groups of people. It's about when you go get your coffee at Starbucks or any other coffee place, and if you get so many cups of coffee, you'll get the next one free, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
So what they did is they took two groups. They gave one group a coffee card that had just 10, they had to buy 10 cups of coffee and they got the 11th one free. So there was 10 cups on there, empty cups. So they still had to buy 10. There was another group that had a card that had 12 cups, but the first two were checked off. So they still had to buy the same amount of coffee cup or cups of coffee in order to get the free cup. But any
Hmm.
guesses, which group do you think bought the most cups of coffee the fastest?
I would probably say the second group only because it's like it almost gives you the illusion that you're already getting started,
Boom, that's
right?
it. The second group. So they both groups still had to buy 10 cups, but the second group that had the start, like the first two that were checked off, they more of them actually completed the card and they did it faster. And again,
Wow.
they basically talk about there's this illusion of getting closer to your goal. And so
Hmm.
just the ability, even if it's an easy step, break down your goal into easy steps that you can do every day and you can check off. And it makes you sort of just validates that you're making progress and you're taking steps towards the bigger goal. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually do that quite a bit. Um, like when I have certain things kind of in my mind of like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to, so it's like if I have a day off, it's like, okay, I have like these 5 things I need to do, right? And to get it out of my head, I write it onto paper, but I also write it onto paper so that I can cross it off because doing that actual physical crossing off releases dopamine in your brain, which is
Hmm.
the feel good chemical. So,
Hell
and
yeah.
it's like you want to do it again. So then it's like kind of tricking your mind into doing more things. So you can just do that super simple crossing off.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep, that is awesome. I love that. And I'm so glad you shared that because that's something simple that literally you can do today. You literally can make a list of the things that you need to do or you want to get to. Um, and just start utilizing it. The point is and then the point is like you said, you get these tools. It's one thing to listen and learn about these tools that we're sharing. The next step is to actually apply it.
definitely.
Yeah,
It's so simple, but it's so powerful.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think I heard, I want to say it was in one of Mel Robbins' podcasts where I forgot what university it was out of, but she's always research backed. But
Yes.
she was talking about goals and she was talking about how um what was it? Having goals and working on your goals can actually reduce the feelings of fear and depression.
Yep.
So I was like, wow, like having goals, even if they're like little, is actually good for your mental health,
Hmm.
so it actually gives you something that you're working towards.
Oh, I'm telling you, I shared that story with you, how at the end of the year I started feeling like I was getting a little bit in a rut, a little bit frustrated. I can attest to that. Just having something to be working towards, it does wonders for me and where I can focus my energy. And then it also helps me when I need to take a break. Like I know I've been productive and I can kind of let that go for a little bit too, as opposed
Yeah.
to when you feel like you're just spinning your wheels and you're just doing random things all over the place and not getting a lot done. That is so, for me, it's very frustrating. It's like
Hmm.
all this energy and like nothing's coming out of it. Like what the hell's going on right now? So like to like push, even if it's a little bit forward, right? We just like to go a little bit forward, a little bit forward. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, I would
Now,
really like to share that tool or that
yes, it's totally.
exercise. It's an exercise. So I forgot to ask you to get this out before, but you need a calculator and you need just a pen and paper, just
Oh,
something to
well, I
write it
have my
down.
phone.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so let me get my calculator.
But do you have some like a pen and paper to like write some numbers down?
I do. I have a pencil
Okay.
and I have paper.
Okay. Because I
All
already
right.
did this, so I just did this so that I could have my numbers.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to start off. I actually have um I have the math kind of calculated out right now. So the average lifespan of a woman, I want to say it's in the United States, but the average lifespan of a woman is 82 years old.
Okay.
So 82, we're going to be talking about days. So 82 years old, if you times that by 365 days a year,
Uh-huh.
you get 29,930.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how many days you have in your life.
Yeah.
So you want to take your age.
Okay.
So if you want to do 50, since you're 5 weeks away,
Oh,
if,
okay.
if you want to do 50,
Okay.
times that by 365.
Okay. 18,250.
Okay. So you want to take the 29,930
Mm-hmm.
and then minus your age.
Oh no. That's crazy. Oh my God. So 11,680 days left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got shit to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm 33. So
Mhm.
minus 12,045 days. So it's really, I mean, it can be scary, but if you kind of flip that into more of, okay, so I've lived for this many days. Actually, sorry, I have 17,885 days left
Yeah, you got
on this
more.
planet, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on how, but that's like a rough number. But
Yeah.
really, I mean, if you look at it, it's a privilege to know that,
Mm.
right? And it's a response, it's like almost like you have a responsibility, especially for us, because we want to build a community of women. We want to, empower them and build them up and build their confidence and,
Yeah.
help people start their businesses, whatever it is, help them help more people.
Right.
So if we're in the business of trying to help people, we only have that many days left to do it.
Yeah. It
So I
makes
think
you,
that
oh,
it,
that's awesome. It
yeah,
makes you, I mean, and of course you never know. Like we never know what's going to happen, but
of
if we were
course.
to estimate, right, based
Yeah.
on the average lifespan, like you said, we have so many days left. That is insane.
Hmm.
Because then if you were to break that down further and then to how many years or how many months that means,
Yeah,
how
I
many
think
Christmases, yeah, like how many
yeah,
years? It's like,
someone broke it down into how many like waking days that is,
yeah, like when
because
you,
obviously we're sleeping for 8 hours a night.
yeah, so
So it's
it
even
just,
less than that.
yeah, so it makes you realize, oh, so I guess the time is now. The time is now that I need to
Right.
like step it up.
Yeah, and you can
Or
look at
maybe
it
do the things so that at the end of my days, that was actually something. This ties in so great with this because when I made the jump, to change my careers, the one of the biggest things was that I just did not want to look back with regret that I didn't try.
exactly.
I just wanted, if I could at least say I tried, I would be good. I just didn't want to regret. And when you think about you have so many days to kind of fit in the things that are the most important to you, whoo,
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a study done of people's dying regrets, right? People on their deathbed.
Mm.
What did you regret? And it was like, oh, I regretted, not spending more time with my family or my friends, or I regretted, not doing this or not doing that.
Yeah.
More people regret the things that they didn't do rather than the things that they did do.
Mhm.
So definitely if you're looking to start a business, if you want to start a nonprofit, if you want to help people, if you want to,
Mhm.
climb Mount Everest,
Yeah.
like look at those numbers. You can even write it on a whiteboard or your bathroom mirror. And it sounds depressing, to count down, but really you should really look at that number and just be like, I got it. Like I'm going to make today
Yeah.
count,
Yeah. That
you
actually
know?
ties into like when people, if let's say you're struggling finding a goal or finding what goal you should have, that actually taking that kind of a similar approach works too. You can think about, all right, at the end of my life, what is something that I would absolutely regret if I didn't try or I didn't do? That could be
Exactly.
something like yeah, I never went to Italy or something like that, right? And it would tell you, all right, well, I need to figure out with however many days I have left
Yeah. And
and what I don't want to regret not doing or trying, that will be
yeah.
my goal.
And it really kind of, especially looking at it that way,
Mm-hmm.
if I look back on my life, if I find out that I have cancer and I'm dying in a month, you know what I mean?
Ooh,
It
right.
really makes you kind of just think, okay, what is really the things that are important to me?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
What's something that's really important to me, and what do I really want to accomplish while I'm here on this earth for the next 17,885 days?
Holy crap, I know. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Well, this was a great talk. I'm so glad that we were able to really talk about goals, some of the things that really help goals be, effective. Ooh, excuse me, I'm getting all like choked up here. And some of the tools that you can take with you, like literally today, and implement them and see how they work for you. I don't know. That was a really good talk. I'm so sorry. I'm all
Yeah.
choking up here. But no, that was really good and great tip. I like
Yeah.
that exercise. And I don't know, do you have any closing thoughts or
No, I feel like that was really good. Just, I think doing the whole two-step process of, trying to figure out what your goals are and then
Mhm.
how you're going to get them done. I think that that's a really great tool. So, just to kind of recap, it's the what is it? The why and the how
Mhm.
of your goals.
Yep.
And then also too, figure out how many days you have left. And
Yep.
that's going to
And
be a great
and start
motivator.
checking, yeah, start checking those
Start
boxes.
checking. Yeah, make a list of things, make a list of your goals and the things that you need to do. And with each thing, just cross it off. Just
Yep.
trust me, that little shot of dopamine is going to happen because I do it almost on a daily
I
basis.
love it. Absolutely. And if you love what we're sharing here and you love the tips and all the things that we're bringing to you, we would love for you to subscribe, hit that bell, make sure that you get notified for the next episode when it's released. Follow us on Instagram. We're there. Here's to Dope Women. And with that, Clarissa and I are going to sign off until next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.